everyone, it's Velvy. I've mentioned this a few times across my socials, but I'm currently trying to become a professional voice actor. My goal is to get local commercial work, but I wouldn't say no to a character role if it came my way. I have my own booth, my equipment is pretty decent, and I've even done some proper training. I think with some practice, maybe I could get at least one job. Maybe. And as I've been putting the finishing touches on my recording booth this week, I've been thinking about where my voice acting dreams began. My interest in voice acting started when I was a young teen. At the age of 13, I discovered the internet. Nyan Cat, Caramel Dancin', Vocaloid, and of course, anime. I became obsessed with anime. I'd beg my mum to let me have more time on the family computer to watch Black Butler in 12 parts on YouTube. Sometimes she would say yes, and sometimes she would say no, which is where I'd have to get creative with my anime consumption. My high school library had a very small selection of anime DVDs that were available to rent out, one of which was Chrono Crusade. Don't ask me why my Christian high school had Chrono Crusade, a story about nuns with guns. They just did. In the bonus features, there was a cast commentary episode where the two main voice actors talked about their experiences recording for the show. The two voice actors in question were none other than Hilary Hagg and Greg Ayres. If you haven't seen Chrono Crusade, then you've probably at least heard them both in a Ghost Stories English dub Funny Moments compilation. I watched the commentary episode over and over. I just loved hearing about their jobs and all the behind the scenes fun. It just clicked with me, and I thought about how fun would it be to be a voice actor? However, it felt like it would be impossible to achieve that dream. I lived rurally in the middle of nowhere, and at the time it felt like I would be stuck there for the rest of my life. So while I still really wanted to get into voice acting work, I didn't bank on it as a viable career path. About a year later, I watched the English dub of Oran High School Host Club. As I was watching, I thought, Kaoru sounds familiar. I googled it, and to my surprise, it was Greg Ayres again. I was so excited. A familiar voice. But then I noticed J. Michael Tatum was in it too. But he also played Sebastian in Black Butler. And don't even get me started on when I looked up the cast list for Hetalia. All the dots were connecting. I love to look up voice actor panels on YouTube and get all the behind the scenes info that I could. Which, going back to Oran, led me to the bloopers for the English voice cast. Just like the Chrono Crusade commentary episode, I frequently rewatched the blooper reel, and I love seeing what the actual process of dubbing an episode was like. More than ever, I was determined to become a voice actor. To get this dream on the road, I started doing theatre classes at school. I even had a little superstar moment where one of the students dropped out of the school musical and I stepped up, killed it in the audition, and got to do a small speaking part. I had people come up to me afterwards and compliment my voice, which was a big confidence boost and kept my dreams of acting alive. I continued theatre classes all through high school and actually managed to get the subject award for theatre performance in my final year. But when I told the career advisor that I'd like to do voice acting for a career, he heavily dissuaded me from even trying, telling me that it wasn't a real career path. That was a kick to the gut. Then I told my mum that I wanted to do voice acting, and while she loved my enthusiasm, she kept reminding me of my cousin who was trying to pursue acting too, and how she was struggling to get by and wasn't having much success. So there wasn't much encouragement there either. Plus, like I said in my previous video, I was struggling with my health, so the most I did for a while was audition for fan dubs on Casting Call Club, which was okay. Then in 2020, I moved to the big city and pursued animation. I thought if I can't voice an animation, then I'll be the one to make the animations instead. COVID hit, and I was isolated in my apartment all by myself. To keep myself sane, I started streaming. It was nice to have some company, and people were saying nice things about my voice too. I was a bit more concerned with school and the pandemic, so voice acting still wasn't in the books for me. But streaming led me to getting a nice XLR microphone setup and learning about how to sound treat a room. In my classes, I learned how to use Adobe Audition and how to mix my recordings to make them sound smooth. We were also allowed into the professional recording booth at my university. I made my friends take so many pictures of me because I was so excited to actually be in a recording booth. For the first time, the stars were starting to align for me to be able to actually pursue voice acting as a career. A couple more years went by until I finally had the courage to take the first proper steps to achieving my dreams. Late last year, I attended a voice acting workshop. I was so nervous and excited, I felt sick with nerves for the whole week leading up to it and barely slept the night before. The workshop was held at a professional recording studio by someone who is active in the industry. I also met a bunch of other people who were just as excited about voice acting as me, and we all talked about our favorite voice actors from video games and anime. The workshop was focused on commercial voice acting, and let me tell you, it was a humbling experience. Acting in front of other people with studio headphones squeezing your head is harder than it sounds. Even though I sounded shaky and a bit rushed, I was really proud of myself for even trying in the first place. If 13-year-old me knew I'd be doing this, heck, if me from a year or two ago knew I'd be doing this, I would be so excited. After the workshop, I knew my next step was to set up a vocal booth at home and upgrade my equipment. I ripped the clothes out of my closet and stuck a million foam panels to the walls. I was able to upgrade my equipment thanks to my family giving me an audio interface for my birthday. Thank you guys. This has been my main goal for 2026, alongside making YouTube videos to get more confident at recording and speaking. I'm just about ready to make my voice reel and start auditioning. It feels like I've come so far, but in reality, I'm just taking the first steps. I'll be looking at doing local commercial work over character roles for the time being, but there's still that part of me that wants to be in animation and video games. I'm not sure how far I'll be able to make it in the industry as I don't want to move internationally, but hey, you never know if there's an NDA to sign just around the corner. Thank you everyone for listening. Do you want to be a voice actor too? Or are you looking for someone to voice in your projects? My business email is in the channel description if you need someone, and I do discounts for student projects too. Even though I haven't had any work yet, I'm gonna start calling myself a voice actor, because who would want to hire a voice actor who doesn't call themselves a voice actor? Alright, I'll see you guys next week. Bye!